Hi guys, episode 3, Call Her Boss, and today we are going to be discussing basically what's next. My marketing manager asked me the question, what's next? And at first I was like, I don't know what's next, but we always do know what's next. We might just not be thinking about it at that time, but I think um, as we achieve things, obviously our goals get bigger and more exciting if we remember, like I said in the last podcast, to be grateful, to be thankful, and to live in the moment. So exciting things. And I think the next big goal for me is to build my businesses in Dubai. um, it's a huge step that's been in the pipeline for long. Obviously I have businesses there, but obviously building it means I have to be there more, and that comes with sacrifice. So I think one of the most important things to consider on one of your next big goals is that it always comes with sacrifice. Nothing in life comes easy, and nothing in life comes without sacrifice. So when I talk about sacrifice in my shoes, it's losing, not losing, but losing at the same time my family, because I won't be able to see them all the time anymore, or my dog, who, as everyone knows, is so dear to me, and probably been lonely for a while on that side, and experiencing all the challenges that I've experienced here in South Africa, there in Dubai. And I think the reason why it's more challenging than my business here, or starting my business here, is I had the support of my family. I knew South Africa a lot more. But with that being said, it's a really exciting journey that I'm going to take. And for you guys, I think you need to fully believe in whatever your next step is, your next goal is, no matter how big it is. Or how silly someone else might think it is, it doesn't matter as long as you believe in yourself. I think some of the most important tips I can give you is, it's good to take advice, but don't take advice seriously. Use the bits and pieces that make sense to you for guidance. I think a lot of people, when they're unsure of themselves, they ask millions of people for advice, and it just confuses them more. So take advice, but take it as and when you need it. Also, you can only do that once you're fully sure of yourself, you've developed yourself, and you're confident in what you're doing. Number 2, believe in your vision, believe in your goal. You need to feel it, you need to see it, you need to act it every single day. If you're not doing that, you're not going to get there. Some people say you fake it till you make it, and other people say you just live in that moment, in that way of life, and it just all comes to you. Manifestation is a real thing, guys, and that's why, for me, at the beginning of each year, I put together a vision board, I stick it on my wall, and you look at it every day, and it just motivates you, number one, and it reminds you every single day of what you're trying to achieve. So important is to believe in yourself. Take advice, but don't take it to heart. And create a vision board, manifest what you want, and believe it every single day. Number 4, you need to work towards that goal. Often we think that people got lucky, they met the right person, whatever the case is. That is true, but they didn't get lucky by not getting in their car and going to network to meet that right person, or going to look at a business that they want to start, how they operate, whatever the case is. So sometimes you might cross paths with someone and it changes your whole life, and yes, it can be, some sort of luck, but the person had to make the first move. Okay, they had to actually physically do something to obtain the next step, or the next level, or whatever they needed to do to get to that next step. They didn't lay in their bed, they didn't sit on their chair and daydream about it all day. They actually did it. And I think in today's society also, people procrastinate, and the reason they procrastinate is they're overstressed, or they function in just day by day. They don't know how to take the next steps in order to get things done. And everything could feel overwhelming for a lot of people. I see it all the time, even for myself sometimes. And again, it's about knowing yourself, being able to identify when these things happen, taking a step back, clearing your mind, and maybe breaking down the tasks that you have to do in order to achieve that goal into smaller sections. And as you achieve them, you tick them off. That way it seems like smaller bite-sized tasks, but it will get you to the bigger picture. The other thing is, like I always say, celebrate the small wins. Remember to be appreciative of what you have. And the more you believe in yourself, the more amazing things are going to happen for you. I don't know how else to put it, but it is literally that. You need to believe in yourself. Also, you need to be realistic. Having big goals are great, and we should all have them, but they also need to be attainable and realistic. If they're not attainable and realistic and you don't achieve them, a lot of the time you can become despondent. You can think that maybe you're not good enough, or you failed. You haven't failed. You don't need to be despondent, and you are good enough. It's just a lesson on maybe how to do things better the next time, what went wrong the first time. But also, sometimes it's also a lesson to say maybe you've taken one step too far. Maybe you need to achieve something else first that's a little bit more realistic and more attainable to then reach your next goal. So always keep these things in mind. Don't shoot yourself down. Don't become despondent. There's a lesson in everything that happens to you in your life, and you can take that lesson and change and grow, or you can walk away from an opportunity that could be waiting at your doorstep because you don't know how to take the lesson. You don't know how to learn from the lesson, and you don't know how to identify the lesson that has been given to you. This comes back to, again, being present. Being present is so important. We are so used to being in autopilot in every single thing we do that we miss such important things because we get in our car, we wake up in the morning, we brush our teeth, we have a shower, we eat breakfast, we get in our cars, we go to work. We do what we're so used to doing that you're often doing things and you don't even know you're doing them. If you're present in those moments, you will be able to identify a lot more opportunities, a lot more lessons, a lot more whatever it is, if you're just more present. Take the time, listen, learn. Before you set these big goals as well, guys, please take the time to grow your knowledge. Knowledge is power. And if you don't grow your knowledge, you can't achieve at the same level as someone who sits and takes the time to read new books, to read about mindset, to read about how to make money, to read about how to make their lives more positive. All these things are important things that got people to where they are today. Okay? They didn't just start a business and that's it. There's so many different components that go into each and every new goal that you set or that you want to achieve. It's not just you know how the maths works or you know how the business works. That's one step of the process. You need to know how you work. You need to know how the people that are around you that you employ work. You need to understand yourself. What works for you, what doesn't work for you, what works for your employees, what doesn't work for them. And you can only start to do that by being present, by learning more, by getting more knowledge, by reading books, by listening to other people that have already experienced these things, that have already gone through these life lessons, that can guide you and teach you. So it's important to take the time, go read a book, go listen to a podcast of something that interests you, and make sure that whatever it is you do it with intention. You put 100% into it. You stay dedicated, you stay focused, but you also at the same time don't let the little things go that make you happy, that give you joy, that you can smile about and laugh about and cry about. It's a balance. You need to create a good balance. So Kaylee, my marketing manager, has asked me what I say to people about work-life balance and that being a myth. And I'm pretty sure she asked me this a while ago. And I said, there's no such thing as a work-life balance, because you got to pick one or the other. And it's a constant battle in my head. And especially now, more so that I moved offices, the stress was immense. Things went wrong. And I took the time and I sat and I said, like, what is the purpose of all of this? And I realized that if you don't have some sort of balance, there's not going to be meaning in what you're doing. If your work is every single thing to you all the time and there's nothing else that brings you joy, there's no meaning. And not to say that I have a work-life balance, because I don't. I think I'm still very much work. When people ask me about my life, it's all consumed and revolves around work and building my businesses and getting to my goals. And I think that I'll continue to be like that. But if you had to ask me whether you should have a work-life balance, I think it's really important that you do have a work-life balance, so that you can enjoy, the small things. You can actually appreciate when business does well, or when, something in your family happens that's good. Because when it's work, you don't even have time. You don't even take time to stop and enjoy anything or appreciate things. You're just constantly going. And a lot of the time people think, oh, I'm working so hard. They praise themselves for it. Yes, it's good to work hard, and don't get me wrong, you cannot not work hard to make it in life. But at the same time, it can also be bad. You need to be able to balance the two. And it's still a struggle of mine every day. But, and I always reference one of my mentors, but he tells me this all the time, that, when I moved into my offices, they flooded twice when I moved in. And the day we moved, it rained the whole day. So my furniture was soaking wet. We were soaking wet. The timelines I had set did not happen, so my employees were at home for like the first 4 days, which gave me anxiety. And then my offices flooded twice. Once on the Sunday, I got a call and Clint had told me that your offices are flooded. And I got to my offices, and I had been through so much stress at that time, and I hadn't, thought of all the blessings that I'd been given, and I wasn't grateful for what I had in front of me. That I sat and I just did nothing for 20 minutes. I scrolled on TikTok while my offices were flooded, because I just felt defeated. And anyway, I got over myself. And then the following Monday, a week later, Monday, one of my employees phoned me to tell me my offices had flooded. And I was like, no, there's no way they're flooded. And he's like, no, I'm serious. I'm like, look, it's not a joke. Anyway, long story short again, it was flooded. And I was like super defeated. I was super like despondent. I was like, why is this not working for me? Why? It's supposed to be an exciting thing, moving into offices. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be rewarding, and nothing. I wasn't feeling any of those emotions. And when I took the time to think about it, I wasn't enjoying the process. I wasn't grateful for what I had been given. And, I didn't learn lessons along the way. I was just so work. We need to move offices. We need to get our employees back to work so we can work and, achieve the goals and do the deals. And the longer they're not here, the longer there's not going to be deals being done. And I can't focus because I can't work when there's no offices. And that was just my mindset. And on the weekends, I was at the office and trying to make things work. And on the weekdays, I was at the office every day till like 1 a.m. sometimes. And then my mentor said to me, but you're not enjoying the process at all. Every time I speak to you, like stressed or miserable or upset. You're supposed to have fun. You moved into new offices. Your business has grown. You're able to move into these offices. You've you've made a success, that you can be in the situation. And every time I speak to you, miserable. I said, yeah, but my office started flooding, and when I tried to move, it was raining, and this and that, and the next thing. And he's just like, that's all part of the journey. Enjoy it, learn from it, go with the flow, and it will all work out. And the minute I started enjoying it, going with the flow, laughing at things when maybe they went wrong, and just accepting things and that they were all happening as they were supposed to at the right times, things started coming together. I also took a little bit of a break from being so consumed by my offices, started spending time with my family again, doing the things that I love, you know, whether it's the smallest things, spending time with my nieces, reading a book, watching a series without worrying or thinking about work, having a conversation with my mother, my parents, my sister, whoever it may be, without being on my phone doing work. And it just brought me back to reality, and reminded me of what I have, and what a great journey it's been.